In 1782, the bald eagle was adopted as America's national symbol. Today, that same bird is an endangered species in every state, except Alaska. And most of Alaska's eagles are in southeast, where in the summer they're frequently seen sitting high in spruce trees near the water's edge. But seeing one or two in a faraway tree in the summer is nothing like seeing thousands of them just a few yards away in the winter. Wintertime Haines is a paradise for the birdwatcher, photographer, or anyone who wants to learn more about our national symbol.
There's no place else you can get eagles like this. Yeah. I photographed them in Florida during the nesting season, and I photographed them throughout Colorado in the winter, and I've gotten more in one day here than I've gotten in years in the southern states.
Just 18 miles outside of Haines, near the village of Claquan, are the eagle gathering grounds. Between October and February each year along the Chilkat River, the greatest concentration of bald eagles in the world occurs. During November and early December, as many as 3,600 eagles are in the valley. They come from throughout southeast, coastal British Columbia, the Yukon, and even as far away as the Pacific Northwest. Eagles are everywhere, so many in fact the area has come to be known as the Council Grounds. Some trees are filled with bald eagles as though they were densely packed high-rise apartments. Because there may be so many majestic eagles in one single tree, they almost seem to lose their majesty and present a more common image, like large crows. Drivers may park in the frequent turnouts along the highway. After bundling for protection from the cold more typical of interior Alaska than southeast, it's simply a matter of hiking along the highway while always watching out for truck traffic to see hundreds of eagles. Around nearly every corner, eagles are sitting on the bare branches of the cottonwoods. There are several reasons that Chilkat attracts more eagles than anywhere else on Earth. One, the underground water bubbles up and keeps a 5-mile section of the river from freezing. Two, the salmon run of the river is the latest in Alaska, thus providing food for the eagles. Three, the shallow braided streams mean easy hunting. Nearby cottonwood trees provide good nesting and perching sites. And four, the river runs close to the road, preventing most observers from disturbing the many eagles on the flats and banks. Southeast Alaska is the last stronghold of the bald eagle. About 10,000, half of Alaska's eagles, live here, and researchers estimate there are 3,000 breeding pair. Furthermore, their numbers are increasing, up from 7,200 in 1967 to 7,400 in 1977, according to U.S. Fish and Wildlife Service aerial surveys. The situation, however, is grimmer elsewhere for the bird that was selected as our national symbol. At that time, the bald eagle were plentiful throughout North America, from Newfoundland to Mexico and from Alaska to Florida. Today, they're an endangered species. Pesticides, hunting, poaching, and the encroachment of civilization have reduced the bald eagle population outside Alaska. The plentiful supply of winter food in the Chilkat Valley is the main reason for the healthy eagle population in southeast, but it's not the only reason the birds probably prefer Alaska. 17 years ago, 15 eagles were taken and sent to an East Coast lab for pesticide tests. All were clean. Another aid to the southeast eagle population came in 1982, when the Alaska legislature passed a bill creating a 49,000-acre Chilkat bald eagle preserve. What the bill does is prevent logging, mining, or large-scale development that might affect the waters or the fish, but it still allows for traditional uses. One researcher says, "I think we've got the Chilkat eagles under control." There's still much that's unknown about the Chilkat eagles. As part of a research job for the Audubon Society, retired Fish and Wildlife official Irv Boker worked closely with research officials from the state and federal government. One of the programs involved trapping eagles and attaching 2.8-ounce radios so the birds could be tracked from a distance by receivers. Researchers wanted to know what routes the eagles use to get to the Chilkat, how long they stay, and where they go. The eagles were captured by padded clamps in traps baited with fish. Boker says, "When a bird is caught, we're out there in 5 minutes. We've had no mishaps with the birds." Although frequently seen throughout southeast, the bald eagle facts are less common. Here are a few. There are something like 3,000 breeding pairs of bald eagles in southeast, compared with 1,200 in the rest of the entire U.S. The average bald eagle weighs between 11 and 13 pounds. A wingspan is about 76 inches. That's more than 6 feet. The eagle can fly at 20 miles an hour and dive at 100 miles an hour. It can see fish on the water 2 miles away. The 4 talons are each 1.5 inches long. The eagle's nest is made of sticks and mud and might weigh a ton. Eagles mate for life, but will find a new mate if one of the pair is lost. They mate at 5 years of age, lay 1 to 3 eggs in May. Those eggs then hatch in June. The eaglets are nearly full-sized in August when they leave the nest. Adults do not leave the nest unwatched while eaglets are still in it. The eagles have lived up to 50 years in captivity, but obviously it's difficult to measure their length of life in the wild. A wild eagle's age may be roughly determined by his appearance. A yearling bird's eyes and beak are dark. In the 2nd year, the eagle's head begins turning white, and in its 5th year, it has the full adult coloration. An old bird's eyes may turn silver in color. Most of those who stop along the highway just north of Haines want to spend a bit of time watching and photographing the world's largest eagle show, and it's quite a show, set amid spectacular scenery with a cast of thousands wheeling, diving, soaring, or simply sitting on a cottonwood branch. It's ironic and hopefully not prophetic that the symbol of the United States is an endangered species. Thankfully, southeast Alaska and the Chilkat River provide the proper conditions for keeping the bald eagle alive and well.
They're endangered in 43 of the 48 states, and in the other 5 they're threatened. So Alaska is the only state where they're not endangered or threatened, and Hawaii doesn't have any eagles.
In Alaska in general, and southeast specifically, these magnificent birds and their young are abundant. An estimated 12,000 adult bald eagles call southeast home, in large part because prime habitat still remains.
The array of islands and bays and estuaries and the fishery resource we have, this old-growth forest, is just key bald eagle habitat. I mean, this is like the center of the universe for bald eagles. This is the place.
Although once common throughout much of the U.S., bald eagles disappeared when their habitat did. Other problems added to their dwindling numbers: the use of DDT and shooting. Led by New York State in 1981, there's been high interest in bringing the eagles back. Since then, more than 250 eaglets have been captured in Southeast and released in other states. The process begins each spring with helicopter surveys to plot nest locations and determine whether they have chicks. Visiting Fish and Game officials set up operations on fish and wildlife boats and go over the maps from the surveys.
The ones where I've written in this green pencil here are from the survey where it shows productivity. Like this one has 2 young in it that are approximately 5 weeks old. You can see there's quite a few productive nests just in this small area.
After selecting which nests to go after, the crews head out to begin the work. While the same areas are used each year to capture eaglets, a nearby area remains untouched and is used as a control to study if there are any negative effects to the capture program. So far, none have been found. Once the specific tree is found, a climber gets his gear ready and begins the climb to the nest, which in large trees may be several hundred feet off the ground.
It's pretty basic equipment. It's a set of iron climbing spikes, a belt or harness that you wear around your waist, sometimes a rope, flip rope that goes around the tree, sometimes not, because it depends how busy the tree is with branches or whatnot. and then carabiners and rappelling rings to get down the tree, and a couple of nylon bags to lower the eagles down. That's really about it. A nice long rope, of course, to get up there.
Take it slow and be careful.
As your head comes across the top of the nest, what do you see and what do the eagles see?
Well, I start to hear grunting. The eaglets do a lot of... So you know that there's something in the nest, which is a good feeling because you don't want to climb one of these trees and have an empty nest, which we've done over the years on occasion. And then I try to approach the nest cup very slowly so that as I come up over and they see me, they don't panic and jump back off the nest or anything else. And then I'll often spend quite a few minutes up there just rearranging the sticks and where I want to stand and work, and also that gives them time to get used to me.
The eaglet's almost always back to the far edge of the nest when the climber appears. Using a stick to bring the bird within reach, the young eaglet is grabbed and then gently placed into a bag.
Choose a route down through the trees, which is often fairly difficult because if it's 100 or 120 feet up or something and a lot of branches, you can't see the bottom and the bottom crew can't see you.
While the eaglets are being captured, the parents, obviously upset with what's happening, circle overhead. These eaglets are about 5 weeks old. Even without this relocation by human hands, they'd be leaving their parents soon anyway.
Unlike a lot of other animals, and unlike us, they are with their young only a short time anyway. The young are in the nest for probably 11 or 12 weeks before they'll fly off on their own. And then they'll stay around the nest area for perhaps 3 to 6 weeks. And then they're gone. I mean, they're on their own.
Once the birds come down the rope, the climber comes down the same way. And both head back to the big boat.
Typically at the end of the day, we'll gather up that day's eaglets, powder them with an ectoparasite powder for the lice that most of the eaglets here in Southeast have a pretty good lice load. So we want to kill the lice and then band all of the eaglets.
See ya.
We're putting individual leg bands on the birds now so we can identify them in the future, and then also if we happen to get a good look at them and in the wild, sometimes we can read this little color band through a spotting scope, but it gives them a long-term identification. We know where they came from, exactly which nest they came out of, and where they were released. This is their permanent identification marker.
As soon as the specified numbers of eagles are captured, they're flown back to the state, trying to rebuild its eagle population.
We release them in what we call hacking towers, artificially constructed cages about 40 feet high, eagle nest in each one of these separate cages. 2 eaglets go in each 8-foot square by 6-foot high cage. And they're put in their nest, they're given fresh food, and then basically it's a matter of just waiting for them to completely develop feathers, which is about another 4 weeks, until they are ready to fly, which time then we'll open up the doors, release them, and give them a chance at freedom in New York.
There's something about bald eagles that people like. Eagles are, well, they're magnificent birds. We've got a lot of them in Alaska, and we just kind of, well, you know, there goes another eagle. We kind of take it for granted, but gosh, down south, eagles are really special. They're the symbol of the country. They're a symbol of wilderness, and people really are impressed by bald eagles.
The American bald eagle. It's little wonder how this majestic bird has come to symbolize strength, power, and freedom. It is, of course, the American symbol seen on our flags, currency, and insignias. And nowhere in the world can the American bald eagle be seen better than Southeast Alaska. The rainforest of Alaska's Panhandle is the perfect setting for the bald eagle to live and raise its young. Each fall, near Haines, Alaska, up to 5,000 eagles gather to feed on the spawning chum salmon. Year-round, these birds can be spotted throughout the region. While it may be true that the American bald eagle is a protected species, it does not prevent them from being injured. These injuries are often caused by man, either willingly or accidentally. Shootings, collisions with guy wires or power lines, and a multitude of other causes can put even the mighty bald eagle at risk if it's forced to try and survive in the wild. The Alaska Raptor Rehabilitation Center in Sitka has been a haven for injured or malnourished raptors since 1980. Its purpose has been to care for the wild birds of prey, educate the public, and raise awareness to the avoidable problems caused by man's presence.
Eagles regularly interface with humans and come out losers. That is, they get shot or caught in steel traps or run into power lines and other obstacles that we put up in just being 20th century people. And so in order to look after those injured eagles and try to get them back into the wild, there was a need. And in the past, before the Raptor Center, they simply had to be euthanized. And with the beginning of the Raptor Center, there was a chance to save some of those eagles and actually restore them to full performance and get them back into the wild.
Birds are found by concerned citizens and are turned over to the nearest State Department of Fish and Game office. From there, they come to Sitka to the center. Injuries are treated by local professionals and cared for by a well-trained staff. The Raptor Center is much like a hospital for birds. Injuries must be treated and monitored, and if necessary, medication is administered. The primary goal of the center is to have full recovery for the birds so that they may return to their natural habitat. That means not only medical attention, but exercise as well. With a unique leash system, the birds can get a little flying in during their stay at the center. In addition to the treatment of wild birds of prey, the Raptor Center educates through tours and demonstrations.
Well, these are just a few of our eagles that we keep here. What we do is when an eagle gets hurt or is sick in some way, they get sent to the Raptor Center, and we try and fix them and make them well. These birds that you're looking at right now have been here for a real long time, so they're real used to us, and we can come in here and get close to them.
Adults and youngsters alike learn and are delighted to see eagles and owls up close. Occasionally, the center will take in a bird who, for one reason or another, would not be able to survive in the wild. They're permanent residents of the center and are on a first-name basis with the entire community. The Alaska Raptor Rehabilitation Center functions solely on contributions and memberships, and the staff is volunteer. The rewards come from being up close and helping another living thing survive when it couldn't do so on its own. Watching that creature recover through the struggles and successes.
If we simply allowed the birds to be injured and impaired and did nothing about it, the problems that occur would go rather unnoticed. And most of the problems that these birds encounter, 80% of the injuries are caused by humans that we deal with, and the bulk of those are preventable. So it kind of comes around to education. There's an aspect of what's right for that individual patient, that is animal rights. An individual injured bird hurt by humans shouldn't have to suffer. It should be corrected. And people should have an opportunity to learn that that kind of thing is happening. And so by being here and having the community dedicate the time to healing that bird, it's a very great educational experience for the folks right here as well as around the state that learn that we're here and what we're doing and get involved in sending birds to us. It gives them a chance to realize that there's a solution, but it also lets them acknowledge that there's a problem.
It is the hope of all volunteers at the Raptor Center that each and every eagle which comes to them will someday be held tightly by a center volunteer in front of hundreds of onlookers, and then suddenly find themselves where they truly belong, free.